Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa, damn. Uncle Fry!
Very still right now.
Playing football with Down Darius Jackson.
All my friends are dead and they don't like me anymore. They've moved along, they've changed, and now they find me quite a bore. Way back then it was okay to be a little weird, but all my friends are dead. How's it going, you theories? You game theories? It's me, internet personality malcontent, with an increasingly confusing intro.
You should die. You should throw a beach party.
On that show that you watch for your YouTube video theory
Yeah, that's what everybody wants. A straight couple.
videos, 10minutedailyvideo.net, your place for 10minutedailyvideo.net. I hope you guys are current on Digital Circus. Random Digital Circus spoiler alert.
Wait.
Hi. Oh God. Hi, this isn't really a theory video. It is interesting that Jax doesn't have a tail and then does have a tail.
What the? Where's my tail?
That's interesting. But it's mostly because like there's a quota of YouTube videos and I haven't really gotten to a theory yet. So I don't know, let's bullshit a theory for a minute. It's noteworthy that Jax doesn't have a tail and then does have a tail.
Are we finally having this conversation?
Okay, maybe it's just like what he says it is, right? Like he notices he doesn't have a tail, then he has a tail again.
I at least have the self-awareness to choose who I am.
Now maybe Kaufmo abstracting or dying becomes like more weighty than he wants to admit. Because he's the funny one.
'Cause I'm the funny one.
So maybe the tail goes away sort of instinctively, but but like he has a tail by episode 6. So the only change that I can tell from the beginning of the show to episode 6 is someone points out he doesn't have a tail when he thought he had a tail. But what does it mean?
My ears and tail are kind of the pinnacle of masculinity.
Okay, well, while we're here, here's a joke I like.
You get 5 minutes to figure the teams out. Once that's up,
I think this is an understated, like this whole bit is the whole guns beginning is chock full of really funny Zubul Kane jokes.
Use guns and have fun?
I didn't say have fun.
It's just a little aimless.
Use the sights.
Kane!
This visual gag of him saying 5 and then
You get 5 minutes to figure the teams out.
adding the fifth finger. I don't know why that gets me. It's such a visual, obvious joke about having only 4 fingers when referencing the number 5. Very funny. I don't know if it says anything. Like the thing about Digital Circus is any of the random things could say something later. I guess after we get the 9th episode, it'll be easier to kind of figure out, iron out some of these things. I did find it interesting that it was pretty obvious that Ragatha entered the circus way earlier than anyone else, proven by, this episode here where it's just Kinger.
What?
In the Noir Bar episode 5 vignette, Jax pretends to have the backstory of Breaking Bad, and Ragatha doesn't seem to get it as a reference.
Hey, I wasn't done.
If you're gonna make shit up, at least be creative about it. I know what you're referencing.
Was that a reference to something?
And Ragatha's too earnest to make up not getting a reference for a sarcastic take. So Ragatha has never seen Breaking Bad, which means she put her goggles on before anybody else did. I don't know what else Gooseworks has in store. Finding out Gooseworks is the voice of the Bubble is pretty funny. I think they're also the Moon, if I could be wrong there.
I think after this, maybe we could...
Wait a minute. That's a bad thing.
Explain to Daddy Bubble how bad thing.
I think that...
Don't say that.
Oh, and here's a rare cut. I think this is one of my favorite cuts.
No matter what happens, I'll always...
And into the cellar you go.
This is like In editing, you look for a beautiful moment where you can cut, something that it almost reeks of that old adage of if the scene isn't what you want to be on the scene that you want to be on. That's not how the quote goes, but it's basically like, the Coen brothers would have a bunch of scenes they wanted to do, and they wouldn't waste a lot of time on the connective tissue if that wasn't something they wanted to explore very much. That's true here. I mean, whatever he was going to say to us, I assume Queenie? I assume people are going to call her Queenie, but Queener makes as much sense as Kinger to me, so.
Oh my god.
What was I going to say about Queenie? Whatever, who cares? Here's a movie reference I like. Here's another movie reference I like. In my other review of Amazing Digital Circus, around episode 6, I talked about how the characters are all kind of broken dualities, and I sort of pieced together Kane and Kinger as duologies, even though his wife is an obvious choice to me, the duality, the two, whatever.
Same.
But the other dualities, Kaufmo and Pomni, which it'd be interesting if Pomni was sort of a poetic reference, like Kaufmo seems to be like a Kafka reference.
It is a satire of people who say Kafkaesque when a situation is not Kafkaesque.
Kaufmo has to be a Kafka reference, right? He has to be.
Well, it would be funnier if the caption said, "Please, no meat touching, ma'am."
With Jax, the duality is obviously the girl frog, the frog character Ribbit. And I assume there could have been other dualities, and I mentioned one with Zubul and Gangle, who have become friends because they have like a gimmicky body.
These avatar gimmicks, huh? Makes you wonder why no one else got them.
Another thing I liked in the show that I initially thought was a little bit hokey is the censorship.
What's going on? What?
No, my dear. We can't have any of that foul language around here. The Amazing Digital Circus is a place to be enjoyed by all ages.
I assumed it was just so that they could do a broader market for so you could maybe get away with some kids watching it, even though it has darker material. I don't think that's what they were actually trying to do, but in the first episode, that's how it comes off.
Where anything can happen, except for swearing.
It shows you the gravity of the situation when Kane dies at the very end of the episode, when Zubul says this.
Holy shit.
I think outside of like The Good Place, I can't think of where censorship has been a better or more interesting like plot hook.
Somebody royally forked up. Somebody forked up. Why can't I say fork?
If you're trying to curse, you can't hear.
Also, I've kind of noticed that all of the different characters seem to be the type of personalities that gravitate to social media, like Discord or forums. There's like the older guy who is just kind of into it for the computer science of it all. There's, edgy, aging Gen Xers.
Why did you think I would like that?
There are introverted, creative types.
I don't want a career in fast food. I want to be a comic artist.
Out of touch, rich people who don't really talk to people outside of their highfalutin social networks.
I wish someone would flirt with me.
You have, your generally curious people who use the internet to reference things. And you've got, edgelords like Jax,
I'm the one who causes pain for fun!
So I think that the characters in any high fiction like this, like Evangelion, are to teach you, using archetypes, lessons about interpersonal relationships. Like in Evangelion, Shinji's supposed to learn to love himself, and that's like the entirety of the show.
My life is worth living here!
In Digital Circus, it's one of the many characters needs to learn to love themselves.
How are you supposed to like the part of yourself that just makes you worse than everyone else?
Because it exists. It's a part of you that's real.
And that's like a really beautiful and interesting moment. But we're talking about Jax.
If I led you on, it was just to make this part hurt you more.
Because he has a tail. I want to remind you that Jax has a tail.
What the? Where's my tail?
Jax isn't like funny.
This is really weird.
Jax is a bully.
Do it, or I'll tell Ragatha about the figurine thing.
Jax could be funny if he was more introspective, but he's not introspective enough. Jax seems to think that the only way to achieve humor is punching down, and is also deeply afraid of people punching down on him, as evidenced to when Kane, pulls his face off. I've been thinking about the Jax torture scene a lot since it came out. And I think that's fundamentally the lesson that his character needs to learn, is that to be really funny, you actually need to be a little bit more external to the situation to see where the humor is. There's a pretty obvious example as he gets very upset when he's dressed like a maid.
I don't want to wear this!
But I think this is actually achieved even more in the guns episode. So at one point, Ragatha does something objectively funny. Ragatha puts her finger in the barrel of the gun and it blows up in Jax's face. And this is objectively funny. If Jax was a really funny person, he'd be able to take himself out of the situation, see it for what it is, and find it funny. Not only does Jax not find it funny, but he brutally murders Ragatha in like a very cold, very mean-spirited, unfunny way. And the second he has an audience to judge him for it, he turns it into a joke.
I lost Kinger, but I got him down to 1 life.
I lost a life, but I got us down to 1 Kinger.
Jax admits his bullying tendencies to Pomni later.
There's nothing more to me. So please, just stop looking.
Because he can't wait anymore. Like, there's not been a new person. Everyone's figured him out at this point. No one even challenges him in any meaningful way, except maybe Zooble.
This wasn't fun at all. See you all later.
I don't know what any of that has to do with the fact that he has a tail now, but I will say this. In animation, there are no mistakes. There are only deliberate choices, especially in competently made animated projects. Why is it when Pomni asks, "Can you take this seriously?" do we see Jax's tail?
Oh my god, can you take this seriously?
Are we, the audience, supposed to take Jax's tail more seriously? Why, when Jax tells us to stop looking for any deeper meaning about his personality, do we get a shot of his tail?
Just stop looking.
His tail represents the bit of him that wants to be really, truly funny.
Just keep grabbing at it. That worked for all of us.
Of how important it is for him to come off as cool, and more importantly, for him not to be bullied. Okay, hey, thanks for watching. Tail represents the innocence of wanting to be loved by other people. Maybe? I don't know. There's merch? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
かすかなためらいが邪魔をするそのすべてを重ねて生きてゆきたいのできるならせめて今は見つめ